going live in like 5 seconds.
God damn it! I'll do it badly and say disparaging things that people... Wait, I like this. I don't
more
want...
than 5 seconds.
Fuck. This is the /chat podcast, and Almir Mill's not doing the intro because she's trying to unwind after a long period of technical difficulties. So I have to do the job for her.
Yep.
Right.
And because we both called not it.
Yeah, just that system. Go ahead and cheat that system. If you're watching this...
I waited a whole 30 seconds before I said it, so...
No, not 30 seconds. Bullshit. But, we are /chat, and I hope you're watching us because you like... Can you see why I'm not the person to do this? Okay. Well.
Generally, the host does this sort of thing, but whatever.
She's a little stressed out right now by.
Yeah, she is. She said she was gonna start crying, and I'm like, whoa.
I was. I was seriously this close to crying, like breaking down into tears.
This apparently means
I'm sorry
a lot.
though. I have to laugh. It was a half hour to solve a problem that boiled down to
Unplugging, replugging.
It back in.
Yes. Oh,
Computers forever.
First world problems.
First world problems.
Well, we're going to be talking about stuff. I don't know what the stuff is because I'm apparently the host and I had no time to prepare for this.
Congratulations, Alex. You are /chat. Go.
I am the host. I am the host of the intro, and then I am resigning as main control host.
You know what?
You need a Beetlejuice mask. Drop the mic.
Yeah.
I did that the other day at work. It was awesome.
Oh my god. Well, I better introduce everyone. I'm Alex Postmas Merrick, and I'm doing a job that I'm not qualified for. And our, oh my god, I can't. Lovely host. I am not tickling your head because here with me today we have the near-crying, tech support-laden cat girl named Kat, Almir Mule.
Hello.
She forced this job upon me.
I did.
So if I do a bad job, you know who to blame. Not me, because I'm incompetent. and we also have Jeremy Tioger and and Mr. Josh Raytog, who's on the second show.
Yeah.
And it's great to have him back because if he can get through one show, then you're gonna be fine. And he came back, so.
I wasn't
Right.
phased away yet, although our host was apparently. I think the booze is happening. I really do.
She's gotta go mix one because she's like.
Screw mixing. I'm not gonna be surprised if she sits back down with a bottle of green.
Yeah, just a bottle with no label on it, and just
get a paper bag.
She'll endorse whatever she's drinking for the internet. I'm sure she will.
Yeah.
Wait, what about that?
Yeah.
Oh, it does have a label. Okay. That's okay. Nothing ever bad happened from drunk streaming.
No.
Nothing bad at all.
So, we'll just say what's been going on since I'm the host. I don't have to go first. So I guess we'll start with I don't know, Jeremy or Josh, whichever one. Josh.
Got it.
No, I declared it before you got a chance to speak out.
Okay.
What you been doing, sir?
As usual, lots of working. So not a whole lot, actually. Didn't really find any new, interesting TV shows that are happening this week. I did end up catching that episode of Tokyo Ghoul that we were talking about last week.
Oh, lucky.
I liked it. Well,
you lucky son of a bitch.
I yard it. So, I will say that as far as horror anime goes, it made me kind of uncomfortable watching it at one point. which was cool. It like really gets this dude's. I'm not going to spoil anything, but it really gets this dude's like sense of distress as good as you could possibly get it. So it's going to be a horror show. Looks like it's probably going to mix into horror action, but that's kind of partial for anime. Other than that, and playing WildStar, that's probably about it. Well, that's something I hear a lot. Too bad, I'm having fun. Not making you play it. I did break down and actually make Raytog in that, and this is the initial shuffle of like, alright, what do I want to play? And lo and behold, there's a fun, could-be green-skinned space barbarian race. Go figure, that's what I said along. But, been doing that. Lots of work. Back on a somewhat normal schedule now, so I'm not as sleep deprived as I was before. And one of my roomies is finally setting up one of these games, which is
Pathfinder.
reversed. I don't know if it'll actually show up
It did.
reversed or correct.
It was
But,
correct.
oh, cool. But one of those is going down here pretty soon, which will probably wind up happening on Fridays, I think. But yeah, it's just with this really small group that's like, we all live within like 5 miles of each other. So that'll happen, and I think, did I do anything else interesting? What am I? No, I'm not interesting. No, that's it. Done.
Okay, you guys were frozen for a while, so I was afraid it was something on my end because you guys were. You're right.
I am a robot. I am a robot.
I just saw a frozen image of Cat with the bottle just drinking.
No, that was how it really happened.
Yeah, pretty much.
Chug, 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 chug.
Well, I mean, the bottle was like not up, so it wasn't like she was drinking. It was just like, yeah, like that. So, yeah. All right, Jeremy, you're next. You've been chosen.
Okay. I'd like to thank the Academy.
Which academy?
Academy of what?
Right out of Satan University.
What would someone like you actually major in?
Child psychology. With a minor in pain.
Oh my god.
Love
We
it.
both watched that way too much.
Yes, we have.
To be fair, I was doing the entire Beaver Vendetta speech last night just to see if I could still do it.
You're not supposed to do that until the right day.
Let's see, what have I been up to? I have played the crap out of 7 Days to Die, apparently. I don't know how many hours I have into that game, but it's a lot. I'll look it up while I'm talking. I have played 69 hours of 7 Days to Die.
Ooh.
I'm not making that up.
Keep playing and you'll eventually make it to 7 days.
Seriously. Well, the thing is, I've got the game running so that pretty much it's almost real time. So it's taking a long time, but I've got a really nice fortress set up in there. It's finally starting to get a good mine going. Found lots of lead and iron and potassium nitrate for making gunpowder, but this is in the game, not in real life. I'm not making gunpowder.
Yeah, sure you are.
I know how to make things a lot more fun than that.
No comment. I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, I could write a few chapters for the improvised musician's handbook. But anyway, chemist.
Right back, folks. Keep talking.
Cool, we can talk about him. He's gone. Anyway,
Ah!
why are you laughing out here? We said the same thing about you when your sound wasn't working.
Totally
God
weird.
damn it.
Which I have a question. Aren't your headphones on the wrong place? Shouldn't they be up higher and turned the other way? Your ears are here. Why are
See,
your
I actually always had a serious question about that because I was always wondering, how do anime cat girls' ears actually function? Like right here? Are they like, do they not have ears there and they're just on the top of their heads, or do they have 2 sets of ears? Or is this like part of their head like smooth, like the crotch of a Barbie doll? What's under their hair, really? It's always hiding where their ears should be. Are
No,
they?
I've seen some case situations where the girls have 2 sets of ears.
I've never seen this, so I think that'll actually. I should have just asked the expert to start with.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots of 7 Days to Die. I finally got a farm going. Good God, farming in that game is a pain in the ass. It's realistic, but man, is it a pain in the butt.
If it's realistic, it's supposed to be a pain in the butt.
Yeah, like once you till the ground, you can't walk on it because if you do, the plants get destroyed and pop up out of the ground.
Huh?
I started planting a bunch of trees around my fortress. It's up on the top of the hill. So as you're walking by, it just looks like there's a giant grove of trees up there, and you can't see that there's a huge reinforced concrete fortress with lots of wooden spikes around it. Other than that, I logged into Secret World last night for a little bit. I love that game. I just think I really need to upgrade my computer before I can really enjoy that game, especially some of the newer content. Because I'm only getting like 12 frames per second. That makes it kind of hard to play.
Yeah.
But, you know, the storyline and the investigation missions that they added are all really fun, and they're actually challenging puzzles to figure out, so I was really enjoying it. I just, when I get into combat, I have to hope that I'm hitting my buttons in the right order, because I can't really see what I'm doing, so I have to just kind of, you know, hope and pray that I don't die.
Oh, well, that's fun. Hey, side note. If Josh magically disappears, it's because there's a giant freaking storm going on outside. That's why.
Oh, it must be heading our way, because it's getting kind of dark out here.
Yeah.
As you'll notice,
Alex will be the last one to get it.
Yeah, as you notice,
Why
by the fact, I don't have a freaking spotlight on my face today coming from this direction from those windows. I really need to get curtains for those things. I did put curtains up in the one room, but that's just because I don't want my neighbors seeing me at night.
Ooh, what do you do at night?
Nothing bad. I'm walking around, you know, in a pair of shorts, and I don't feel like having my neighbors dog.
He jumps out the window and runs into the woods with a spear and kills animals.
That would be
Isn't that what everyone does on the weekend?
I have not.
You can't blame his neighbors for that, because who wouldn't want to see that?
I have not done that in at least a year.
Oh, okay.
And the
Well,
funny
that's
part of
good.
that is I'm not entirely kidding. He knows I'm not kidding. Doing a lot of work at the gym. You know, work is work. I love my job, but, you know, I work like 6 days a week. So, I'm tired. Other than that, nothing really better than usual going on. Trying to figure out how to set up a Kickstarter team, or a Kickstarter, because I want to do a free running team for the gym, to go around and do jam sessions with other groups that have it. So I got to try and get all that together. I got to sit down and paint some realistic looking feathers. They're turkey feathers, but they'll hopefully look like eagle feathers when I'm done. But that's gonna take some work. Other than that, not a whole lot. I started working on a research paper, but I'm not going to bore everyone with the content.
Give us the subject at least. You mentioned it. You got to say something.
I want to see if firing a laser down the barrel of a railgun will make it ionize the gas more efficiently to work better as an EMP drive.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Yeah, the weird thing is I actually kind of understood that, so.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple idea, just implementing it is kind of complex. Basically, I'm trying to use a laser to create a laser inside the barrel of a railgun while the railgun's firing. A laser capable of emitting a beam of pure antimatter.
Not surprised. Not surprised.
Down here.
Yeah, your turn. You gotta go before me.
Your turn.
Drop this one.
So what have I been doing this week?
Once you.
Let me guess. Anime.
Yeah, actually. I just actually finished 2 anime series last night, actually. So within one day, I watched like 23 episodes. I think
Sounds
it
about
was.
right.
Yeah. In one day. So I finished 2 episodes or 2 series in one day. And that was series.
Series.
Seriously.
Shit it. It was Duncan Runpa and Blood Lad. And
I've heard about Blood Lad. It's isn't he like a big time like otaku in that?
it's an otaku vampire.
Oh, that
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like interesting. It kind of like reminded me of like
What did it do? Attack people at conventions?
No, he was a vampire first.
Yeah.
And then he became. You know those people that are from this country that are so obsessed with stuff from Japan that they seem to sort of start
Weeboos.
thinking they are.
Weeboos.
Yeah.
Weeboos.
It's that plus Count Duckula. That's the best way I can think of.
I used to think of Count Duckula just hugging his body pillow. Oh god, that's sick. Oh my
I
god.
broke the hosts.
See, like, I thought it was, like, how do I want to put it? Like, Yu Yu Hakusho with, like, Soul Eater with
Count Duckula.
Dracula, I
It's like,
guess.
it's like going into that. It's almost sounded compelling, and then we kill it.
It really did, like, remind me of Yu Yu Hakusho, though, because, like, the way the demon world works, I was just like, oh, seriously, we've seen this before. Like,
Gotta do
seriously.
paperwork.
Like...
Oh, these stupid dead people.
But
home.
all in all, it was
Fuck
actually
home.
pretty good. Like, it didn't have that stupid level of just stupid comedy that I can't get into, like, too much, like, filler. It was all, like, general anime humor that you would have to understand by watching other animes. Because at one point, the dude has, like, a Goku keychain on his cell phone, and it's hilarious.
Oh, what about the part where he wants to bring the girl back to life by finding 7 mystical balls?
Yeah, he's taking, like, a lot of what he knows from manga and, like, from other animes. And it's actually kind of completely derailed from, like, him being an otaku to him actually being a vampire. So, it wasn't too bad. Like, it actually wasn't too bad of a show. It has, like, the combat style of, like, Fairy Tail. It really does.
So,
Eh.
very Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it wasn't too bad, but Duncan Ronpa was, like, the best, like, out of what I've watched recently. Well,
Have
actually,
you
I
played-
take that back.
I'm assuming you haven't played the game it's based on, right?
No, I have not.
That's because you don't have one of these, which is basically a useless ring, aside from Danganronpa. Yeah, the Vita doesn't have many games, and it's not going to get any new ones unless. Although it gets a lot of Japanese ones, and I know that Danganronpa was one of the better received games for the system, and it's in like a graphic novel, a visual novel kind of thing. So.
Mm-hmm.
One of those.
It was.
Well,
It
not
was
one of those, but
Oh, hey, are we getting on a
One of
hentai
those,
already?
you mean
Already?
hey, you stink.
I didn't
Stop
start
setting
it.
up. Cat, please.
Just set yourself
Cat,
up.
please keep talking so we don't. Keep
So
talking.
it was surprisingly really
Tentacles.
good in the way of like a murder mystery. Like I was playing Clue the whole time. Like I swear to God, it was who killed who in what place and who was like the person who killed them. It was really good, and there was a couple times where I like kind of figured out who it was, and then there was other times where I was just like, "What? How is this possible?" And
As
then
long as it's better than the first case.
yeah, the first case.
Wait a second. Well, I'm trying to. Was
The first case was like an episode of Celebrity Jeopardy. The answer was literally written on the wall.
Is that the one with the genocider show?
No, no.
What am I
It
thinking?
was the girl in the bathroom.
No. I mean, Danganronpa has genocide. So.
Candlestick?
Yeah, she's in the show.
God, she's weird.
Yeah.
I just see pictures and I'm like, holy shit! Someone thought they could get away with this. That's.
She has like this giant like tongue that's hanging out of her, and then she's like
ego of like the little moe girl.
Yep.
And then her alter ego is like a super yandere, where she just wants to kill the. She like loves a guy, but she loves to kill him too.
That's horrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only
Horrifying
thing more horrifying is people who actually try to cosplay this character. It is
with a giant
disturbing.
long tongue.
Yeah. Some people just stick their tongue out all the time. Some people do the whole actually cosplay the tongue, and I'm like, that's disturbing, and I kind of don't want to see it.
It's Japan culture. Don't question it. Just move along the other way.
But yeah, like those were the two that I literally just finished last night. And then I do have to give a shout out to Steve, who introduced us to Blood Lad and Danganronpa, and what was the other thing that there was like a powwow at Steve's house when we were watching anime. Tialgar, what else did we watch?
I don't remember.
Wrong guy to ask.
You're asking Jeremy. He's kind of like
I can't remember what else we
very
watched.
apathetic towards the anime land.
There was something else we watched. Oh, the Akami ga Kill.
I saw a bit of that. I saw like the second half of that. That looks like it's going to be interesting and kind of horror-y.
It really does look good. Like, it's surprising.
The lead male happily surprised me by the end. Because usually males just follow the I'm going to be just a generally nice guy tropes all the time. It was so
Right.
good. It was so good. The only
Okay.
thing I have issue with in that show at all is the lead character's sweater vest. If he lost that,
I know!
I'd be good.
The fact he's wearing a friggin' sweater vest.
That or it could be funny if he started throwing off like Mr. Rogers lines. Would you like to be my neighbor? Oh, you're a big scary demon. I'm just gonna have to kill you now.
See,
Can you say evisceration? Sure, I knew you could.
see, that's even funnier to me because, like, the 4th of July for me was a big series of epic rap battles of history, and I got to see Mr. Rogers versus Mr. T, and Mr. T didn't win. It was hilarious. But that's enough of that. So, that's it for you?
Mhm.
That means we have to go into a main portion of the show.
Nope, Alex hasn't introduced himself.
Oh, right. Ah,
I gotta say what I've been doing.
Yep.
It's actually been a rather quiet week. It's just today I get my first assignments for the new writing job, so it'll be good because I just want to have a job in the industry, somewhere to start, even if it doesn't pay completely well. Before I get started, I'm just now hearing about the new Humble Bundle, and it's 2K, so you get BioShock, XCOM, Declassified
What?
Bureau, Darkness 2, BioShock 2, Mafia 2, Spec Ops: The Line, and more if you pay more than $5.28. And if you pay $20 or more, you get all that along with XCOM, Enemy Unknown, and BioShock Infinite.
Oh, I'm
You
buying
get
this right now.
Or an like I think I might actually splurge $20 on all that, especially since more games are coming to this.
Okay. One sec. This is my stupidity. Coming and rearing his head into my asshole again.
Did you buy some of these things on the summer sale?
I bought BioShock Infinite. Okay, listen to how stupid this is. So I spent $7 on BioShock Infinite. Just itself, which isn't half bad. Okay, that's not
Yeah, I know where this
too
is
bad.
going.
However, to buy BioShock Infinite 1 and 2 it was frickin' $8.
That's
Why
already
did
getting
I
more.
spend the $7 on just getting Bioshock Infinite?
Have you
When
played
you
the
could,
other two?
I played the first one. Did not play the second one.
second one's not that good.
Yeah. So
Just-
you didn't
just-
really miss out too much.
But yeah,
Well, I mean,
this is
Bi-
it's
BioShock 2 is okay, but it constantly reeks of the first BioShock did not need a sequel. And if that doesn't put it into perspective, think about this. BioShock 2 has multiplayer that is based around Modern Warfare with perks and custom. So BioShock 2 is basically, it plays a lot like the first BioShock, and to a degree it's okay, but it did not need to be made. So I have this sort of animosity towards BioShock 2. BioShock Infinite is great. I love BioShock Infinite. The first BioShock, it's like Twilight Zone the game. And you get all these other... I've been wanting to try Spec Ops The Line, and The Darkness 2, I don't know if anyone's played The Darkness 2. It's okay.
It's
I,
crazy.
the
as far
Darkness
as-
series is actually really good.
Yeah, I liked The Darkness
right
2.
up until somebody cast Magic Missile.
Yeah. See,
Oh,
Somebody
okay,
had to say it.
The Darkness
Bec-
2 is good because it really takes that whole comic book atmosphere really seriously, and it works.
okay, so I have a quick question, and this is going to be something that I'm sure other people out there are probably going to want to know. For people who have bought Humble Bundles, when it says that there are more games coming soon, is there a way that you've paid that $6 that you can still get those games after,
Yes.
like, you paid?
As long as
How
you like
do you
right,
do that?
Right now the average is $5.28. If you paid $5.28 or more, those more games will be available to you. Pretty much. As long as they are within that section, because if it says pay $20 or more to unlock, it shows the $20
Right.
and that says in that section says more. But if it's like the more games coming soon says pay more than $5.28 to unlock. If you pay $5.28, you'll
It's
get those more
41
games.
cents now.
Well, yeah, that's because everyone wants to buy this. Either way, I'm probably going to pay $20 anyway, so the average doesn't matter to me.
It's
And
not
the
like
more-
we're giving it any more publicity or anything.
Yeah, and the more games, a lot of people are thinking they're going to put some kind of Borderlands game in there because it's a 2K bundle, and everyone likes Borderlands from 2K. So one of either Borderlands 1 or 2 is probably going to be at least one of those more games. Either way, you really should go after this because this is a pretty good deal, if only for BioShock. So, with that out of the way, I can actually talk about how my week went. So,
Nice.
I've been playing Shovel Knight on my 3DS, and that's a game that's been getting a lot of praise from everyone, and for good reason. It's really good. It's really it's got the platforming. It's kind of like Mega Man with DuckTales, and it has a few of it. It's very funny. It has a very good sense of humor. And one of the cool parts about it, and a feature that I really like, is that when you get to a checkpoint, you can either just pass the checkpoint, or you can destroy the checkpoint, which gives you more money, more loot, but then you don't get the checkpoint. So it's kind of, you can either take a chance and skip a checkpoint to get more money, or you can just pass the checkpoint and just stick with what you have. It's kind of a risk-reward thing, and it's really cool. The bosses are great. It has a lot of secrets, and I know that there's a code that you can put in where every character's name and like every noun in the game will just have butt. So in the text, if you put in the code, it'll say Butt Knight went to go see Shield Butt, which is Shield Knight is the other protagonist. And it's all these little sort of retro Game Genie kind of things, sort of like you can make your character huge, you can make them super tiny. It's really good.
Woohoo!
like that.
I just got my Humble Bundle.
Of course you did. Did anyone? That's because you're sane enough to actually understand that that's a really good deal.
Oh, if anyone's interested, Car Mechanic Simulator is 66% off today.
all of these I want to get Rock Simulator or Tree Simulator, which are real things, by the way.
There's a Roomba simulator, isn't there? I'm pretty sure there is.
It's just this running joke that's just gotten out of hand, like the potato salad Kickstarter, where you're just like, okay, this was funny at first. Why is this guy making $17,000 for potato salad?
But then there's Goat Simulator, which is
Goat Simulator.
That's
a funny game
to mankind that exists.
It has nothing to do with the goat. It's just we're gonna make the most completely batshit game. We're not gonna correct any of the bugs unless they're game breaking.
Well, not even then.
It's I've seen people play it and I'm like, this looks crazy. just dumb fun. Other than that, it's I played a few games, got some Mesplay footage, got some Vigigames footage, taking a break, playing a little bit of Metal Gear Rising. Most of my time has been invested in anime lately. Continuing Log Horizon. And
Woo! Log Horizon! Woo, woo, woo,
and
woo.
I am completely more invested in Log Horizon than I am in Sword Art Online.
I told you.
I know you were right. Right. And
it looks like it hurt him to say that.
It really did, but she was right. And even I'm getting to I'm only maybe about 10 episodes in, and we're getting into the politics stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And normally I'm like, okay, I can see it. But at the same time, that's kind of the nature of the world, and I still feel invested in it. And the thing with Sword Art Online is that I got to a point where I just wanted to see the episodes just to see how it would end. It was a means to an end to me. And Log Horizon is just I can actually enjoy the episodes. I'm not watching it out of obligation just to see how it all ends.
Each episode is good.
Yeah, and I really more and more characters being introduced, and it's great. They're not sort of just shoving aside the RPG thing, kind of like what Sword Art Online did. Sword Art Online, once they got to a part, they didn't talk about levels, they didn't talk about formation, they didn't talk about items or anything. It was just the world was built around the characters, and while that can be okay, it made it feel like the entire virtual world was not too meaningful to them. However, and since I still think Log Horizon is just, even in the most serious political standard, it still doesn't take itself seriously. It still has characters that are kind of goofy. I love the running joke with Henrietta thinking Akatsuki is just like dressing her up like a dog.
I know.
She's just like,
So
I just
cute.
get this woman away. It's so funny because that joke just runs, and of course, I put up like a tweet on one of them. It says, apparently in Log Horizon, wearing glasses gives you superpowers because every powerful person just does the glasses thing.
Wait for it.
Close. You're supposed, the light's supposed to block it out. I know, I've seen people do that, and then like, wow.
Wait. What?
I've seen people make things on Tumblr of images of them with the light on their glasses, like in the anime. Where they can actually take... Yeah, you just got to get the lighting just right. You're getting there. You'll get there. So I'm very invested in Log Horizon. Watched an episode of Watamode last night, and I realized that I would need a paid subscription to watch the new Sword Art Online, which I didn't have. So I got to wait till next week. Or
No,
this
you don't.
week.
No, you don't.
Why not?
Hulu has it currently online.
Oh, but I don't want to sit through Hulu ads. They're so long. Fine. Well, in the meantime, I watched the season premiere of Space Dandy on Saturday night. If you've ever seen the show Futurama, Space Dandy is basically Futurama the anime. That's really what I
have never heard of Futurama. What is this?
Futurama is this really old show that no one liked. And,
Oh dear God,
dude,
he knows what it is.
I know, and so am I, because everyone likes Futurama. And
I've watched it all the way through at least 4 times.
It's great. I mean, I love Futurama, and the thing with Space Dandy is if there was ever an episode that did not that convinced you that this is Futurama the anime, it was this last episode.
Really?
The whole point of this season premiere was that there was an episode of Futurama where they get a box, and inside the box is a parallel universe. And at one point in the Futurama episode, they're going through different universes that kind of have their own theme, this own little twist.
So it's like
This
sliders?
What?
So it's like sliders?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And this episode of Space Dandy, they found a cosmic string that let them go to different universes. And the funny thing is, each universe is like an anime parody. Like, they go to one and everyone is a ninja. They go to one and everyone's with mobile suits. They go to another one and it's like gender
And
swap
everyone's standing
versions of
around.
themselves. And they go to one and all of these are anime parodies. They legitimately parodied Attack on Titan. They go and so many, and it's so bizarre. And then at one point, and there's a point where they meet this completely depressed, suicidal version of Space Dandy. His robot isn't even a robot, just this fat old lady who thinks she's a robot. And the cat character, Meow, isn't even a cat, he's just a robot who thinks he's a cat. So, at the end of this episode, and I know I'm going to spoil it for you, but you should have watched it. They're trying to, at one point all of the universes collide and all of these different versions of themselves are just standing around and they need to get everyone back. So the cosmic string is pulled one last time, and every version, there's only one version of the team left. All the others disappear. And the one the single Space Dandy and his crew that survived is the suicidal one. And it's just the complete embodiment of, yeah, fuck continuity. We just like to fuck around with stuff.
That's fun.
And I'm watching this and I'm like, this is just like that Futurama episode, only it's anime, so it's better.
Good.
And
Was there one universe where everyone was standing around like they were constipated and glowing?
I think there was.
Talking about the power levels?
I'm pretty sure there was a Dragon Ball Z parody in there somewhere. At one point, I just lost count. And then, yeah, there's.
That was awesome for my camera just to catch.
Between and Space Dandy parodies all kinds of stuff. They parodied in one episode the Terminator, Men in Black. They just, and it's smart. It's just, if you like Futurama, you need to see Space Dandy. It's made by the guy who made Cowboy Bebop, but Space Dandy is clear as day a comedy, and it's funnier that way. It plays on a lot of the very serious scientific elements that Futurama does, relating to like the 2D world that they did in one episode. And they take these very, very scientific ideas and just pervert them, and it's great. It's awesome. You need to watch it.
On a completely random side note,
Yes.
I put up my Dad Hackstein poster. Or wall scroll.
Yes, you did. I can see that.
Your walls are pink.
Your walls are big.
She's trying to hide the pinkness with that.
I am. I'm starting
But
to
it's
like
failing so miserable.
put up posters and
And one more thing, and then I'll shut up about the anime. Not Sword Art Online. Log Horizon. When I was watching it last night, I'm listening to the opening theme, and I to the beat, and then I realized,
Did it get you?
database.
no,
Database.
no, I can't. Why am I doing this? I'm completely instinctively grooving along to this freaking opening theme that I told
Oh,
everyone
you should have
is bad.
seen the shit that I used to do to that theme. As soon as it would come on, I would sit here
It got under my freaking
like this?
skin,
and then I'd be like, database, database.
and it really gets into that.
Yeah.
Oh, why
Totally.
am I liking this? Why do I like this song now? I
Yeah.
shouldn't. But I do. Even though I shouldn't.
Someone in the chat just said, Dandy has different episode directors that are known throughout the industry.
Well, yeah, because a lot of the episodes they change up art styles, they change up tone a lot. But
Art styles. That's interesting.
yeah, in one episode they kind of go into this a planet that's controlled by plants, and all the life forms on this planet are plants, and the animation really starts getting sketchy and very roughly drawn, and it kind of reminds you of maybe like an old. I'm trying to think of an anime movie that kind of do it. I'm thinking Tokyo Godfathers, but I think I can find a better example. And at one point you really think it looks like Studio Ghibli, with these wide open fields and stuff like that. So it's very playful, and it's as playful with the whole sci-fi element as Futurama is, and that's really good because I love Futurama. It's really good. So lots of anime.
Yep.
Go watch Log Horizon and Space Dandy. If Kat hasn't convinced you already, because she was right. And
Log Horizon is the shit.
Admitting that she was right is starting to make me rather ill.
It's okay. It's okay. You'll get over it.
I'm hooked on Log Horizon. I want to keep watching it. I want to watch it more than I wanted to. I had to force myself to watch an episode of Watamote. I never thought I'd have to do that.
Yep.
So that's my lengthy week.
So now here's where we start changing up what /chat is. Normally we do topics from the hat. Normally that's what we end up doing. Questions are still being submitted. If you feel free to submit your questions, feel free. You can do that at #/chat, or you can send them to me personally, and they will be put into the topic hat. Once this gets like decently enough topics, then we're going to pull a couple per episode and then go from there. However, it's not going to be our prime form of entertainment now. What we are going to be doing is we split off into different topics. Poke, 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 and I love how I just randomly became the host again.
Yeah, I was like, okay, so you want it back now.
It's like she took a couple of drinks. Now her sense of responsibility has returned.
Yes, after drinking.
Okay.
So,
Kids, don't learn from her.
no, do not. Please do not. I do not condone to people
We are
drinking
not
and doing
role
weird
models.
things. Do not do weird things while drinking. If you want to do, like,
What?
streaming... Shh. Shh. If you want to stream and drink, that's fine. I totally condone that. But don't go out and do things and
I
drink.
should do that. I should drink.
Don't drink and drive. We have to go with the old sponsor ad, do not drink and drive. There you go.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't
No.
do that.
No. So, each one of us has a topic. And for each session now that we do /chat, we'll be doing news, or sort of like our own biased opinion of news, because, well, that's what, if you're given the idea to go find topics for news, they're going to be your own biased opinion. So, here is our biased opinions of news. And we have Alex with games, Jeremy with
Science? Was it science?
things.
It was
Yeah, I don't have any demos for today because, well, if you can see out my window right now,
I
I
can't.
don't know whether it's that foggy or no, it's that rainy. I can barely see the houses across the street, so
Yeah.
not going outside today.
So, he has things. Raytog has movies and TV shows. So he has just in general media, and I have anime. Of course, by saying that, you know, I finished 2 seasons of an anime, like, yesterday. So,
We're feeding her addiction.
I am feeding my addiction.
Nom nom nom.
Just all the animes. Just roll it.
Another addiction. No. Okay, so we are going to... I don't have my sticks to draw. I was going to actually put names in a hat and be like, we'll pick out who's going to go first. So seeing that Alex went last, we'll just let him go first. Alex, what is currently going on in the video game world this week?
That makes no sense. But whatever.
What is going on in the video game world this week?
Go get the Humble Bundle. That's the first. That's not news. That's an order. Okay. Well, I'm looking at stuff that actually, we care about. Like Minecraft is just sold 16 million copies on PC, which is pretty good. It's getting there. And for a while, the console versions collectively outsold the PC version, and that's a travesty. Because the PC version, I mean, I played the 360 version, and it was okay. It's like baby's first Minecraft.
Aww. It is too.
It's not as infinite, and PC mouse and keyboard are just so much better for when you need to build something like that. So, and altogether, that's 54 million across all the platforms. 54 million copies of Minecraft. That's pretty good.
So let's see here for a second. That means more people are playing Minecraft than World of Warcraft.
Ooh.
Dun dun dun!
How many of the games have been sold is different than how many people playing all at once. But still, I'd rather play Minecraft than World of Warcraft, actually. That's just me. So there's that. I'm hearing that the co-director of Kingdom Hearts 3 is wanting to put a world in the game or in a Kingdom Hearts game based on the movie Frozen.
What?
And I'm like, I'm tired of hearing that song. Just get rid of the song.
Let it go. Let it go.
Can we just let the song go? Is that
No
the
one's letting it go. That's the whole irony of this. It's a
Do
song
you wanna
called Let
build
It
a
Go.
snowman?
No one can let go. Not even Pearl Jam. Because they played that song in a concert. Pearl Jam just did the intro to Let It Go at a concert. I'm like, why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? Just feeding the fire, Eddie. So, I'm like, why don't they just put in a Wreck-It Ralph world? I'd like that. Because I loved Wreck-It Ralph. It was great. And there's a lot more world you do. And now I'm finding out that the...
Tsunami! Sorry, I just looked out my window and there's like a tsunami.
It's happening outside my house too, okay? And I know you...
Tsunami!
Rain makes her... Okay.
Oh yeah, that's hitting me too. Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
I mean, I like rain as long as, I'm not outside being drenched. Now one thing that's kind of been on everyone's mind since... Yes?
You just reminded me of something. I wonder if Jeremy's drains are draining, because as soon as it starts raining where he's at, like the drains all like overflow and he has to go outside in the rain and unclog the drains.
So that's what he's doing right now?
I wonder why.
Wait a minute. I was looking stuff up and being dutiful. Yeah, he has flown the coop, which means his house is exploding around his ears.
I'm like,
Oh.
I'm wondering, I'm like, if it's raining here, it's probably raining there. And if Josh says it's raining where he's at, it's probably raining where he's at. So.
Wow. I hope he's not... Oh, he's not dead. Good. Okay.
Just a second, I have a slight flooding issue outside.
Told you! I told you!
She called it. She called it. Okay. Well, we'll hope he's not dead.
I told you.
He can do it. He can save Atlantis.
The wet carpets? Okay, that sounded wrong.
Now, another bit of news that I'm just now hearing about is that a lot of people know about the Final Fantasy VII remake that we never got.
Wait,
I
what?
was like, what? I got all excited there. What?
Well, a long time ago, Square, around the PlayStation 3's debut, showed off a Super HD version of the intro to Final Fantasy VII. And it was just a tech demo. And people were like, "Are you going to remake Final Fantasy VII?" And Square's like, "No, that was just a tech demo." Now, first of all, what did Square expect when you show an HD version of a game that everyone knows and that a lot of
Everyone
people
wants more of.
Yeah, and then you just say, "Oh, it's a tech demo. We're not doing that." And then they
First
start.
Final Fantasy for me, it's still my favorite. Still love Advent Children, all that.
Yeah, I like
Are they
Advent.
doing anything with it? Tell me they're doing something with it.
Well, Square isn't. But there is a news story that said that the CyberConnect 2, which if you know about that, they are the people who made the .hack series.
There you go, Josh.
Yeah. It was
No,
a
it's
good
not
movie.
final at all.
No, it hasn't been final.
Where's my friggin' thing? Hold on.
Why it was called Final Fantasy was actually pretty interesting because they thought the first one that they made was going to be the last game.
Now I gotta
they could
show
make.
mine.
And it just caught on and became a series, so they just kept the name. As kind of an homage to their last attempt at doing.
Oh, you have
a really
Sephiroth.
cool game.
See, I actually
Yeah.
can't remember their names anymore.
Who?
I feel bad.
Remember whose names?
The brothers.
The
From
brothers.
Advent
The
Children.
Sephiroth brothers?
One of them was Kadaj.
So,
the
okay.
other one.
Laws and Yazoo or something.
Ah, yeah, that's right.
I have the poster of Kadaj then, because he was the one who died in Cloud's arms.
Oh, so
Wasn't
Cloud,
sad at all.
Cloud's almost as apathetic as Squall.
Yeah.
Squall just like
It was like
he has no brain.
dot
He is
dot.
He is
whatever.
fueled by apathy, and his entire language can be composed of ellipses.
Ellipses!
Dot. Whatever. Exactly that.
Yeah. This used to be hanging in my old house in Missouri, but I guess I never cleaned up. Probably should. But what I was saying is that the developers of .hack, CyberConnect 2, have openly expressed interest in making the Final Fantasy VII remake themselves. However, based on, Square's dumbass actions lately, they're probably not going to let them do it. And I'm thinking...
kind of own the rights, so...
I mean, the thing that bothers me is that you're not doing it, Square, and another company wants to do it. Why don't you just let them do it while you make those stupid microtransaction-filled smartphone games that you like putting on people? And I think that it's not like the .hack developers are fresh developers who don't know what they're doing. I mean, the .hack series has kind of been a
Yeah.
JRPG, so in the same vein. It was probably it probably based a lot of its gameplay mechanics on Final Fantasy VII, so why not? And that bothers me a
Also-
lot. Go ahead.
Another game with anime news is the fact at the new Anime Expo they showed Sword Art Online with the Oculus.
Yes, they did.
How'd that
So it was like, oh my god, the nerve gear is like coming. Like
I saw
holy
you favorite
shit.
that tweet. I saw you favorite that tweet, Ken. I know you know about that. And that would be, I mean, the whole idea, it just writes itself because it's a virtual reality headset plus Sword Art Online.
Yep.
It's the next logical progression. And
Yep.
I'd like to try. I've never tried Oculus Rift. I know you can buy a dev kit and give it a try, but I've never tried it. And I'm still very, very skeptical about VR in general because there are two things that will determine if VR is going to take off. One is it's going to be expensive, and they need to find a price point that justifies that. A lot of people think that it's going to be the future, and I'm like, if they're probably going to charge you at least $250 for a headset, at least. So if you're spending that much money, you're going to need a lot of games that use it, a lot of software that uses it. And that's the second problem. It's going to depend on how developers want to use that to justify people buying it.
All they
Exactly.
need is one MMO.
I mean,
One
That's
really
it.
good MMO.
That's it.
it doesn't even have to be Sword Art Online. It could just be a game with the same idea. It could be a new
Right.
idea.
Well,
And the problem in the whole. Okay, go ahead, Josh. Sorry.
I was just going to say, well, it doesn't necessarily have to be an MMO because oftentimes the best things I've seen out of the Oculus Rift are people, like streamers that do horror games.
Oh yeah, for
I've
sure.
seen people go out of their minds. I've seen one like really long time player, like
Markiplier.
veteran. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Markiplier.
Markiplier does that a lot.
Like, and one of the first things that he did on it, he's a pretty big veteran horror gamer. He
Oh, I
had
never
to
would have guessed.
he had to stop and take the thing off because it got to him too much. Because there's a really big difference from like, okay, we're seeing each other on the screens. When what you're seeing is this far from your face,
Yeah.
Right.
it's a whole different experience. In like, if you look this way, you can see what's on this side. It's very subtle, and you could do all number of things with it. But it doesn't have to be an MMO. Horror would be good. Adventure games, if they're structured correctly,
Yeah.
would be
A
good.
lot of these games are going to need to be in first person, clearly.
Mhm.
And there was one horror game that they actually had a demo of, and I'm pretty sure Markiplier played it, called Alone, which was on the Oculus Rift. Where the
I did
whole
see
idea
that.
is that you are playing a game where you are playing a survival horror game. So it's a meta game.
I did see that when you're on the
And
couch.
as when you're on the couch, and then the more you play that horror game, you look around with the Oculus and you start hearing things, you start seeing like shadows in the peripheral vision. And I've always been a fan of those kind of game within a game, those meta games, those games that break the fourth wall to that extent. That would scare someone, and from the videos I've seen, it
It was
worked.
good. It was good.
And it's great. I mean, that's something that because survival horror is really starting to struggle now, because we're seeing all these hack job indie games that try to capitalize on the attention of amnesia. And it's not like the AAA developers are doing anything. Resident Evil's in a rut, Silent Hill's in a rut. We still haven't gotten that Eternal Darkness sequel.
Soma, keep an eye out for that. That's going to be neat.
So that kind of software is good. However, there's going to need to be a lot of it to justify a $250 peripheral. And if the developers just don't use the virtual reality stuff well and don't justify the price, then we're just going to have another Kinect where it's going to be supported a little bit at first, and then no one's going to want to buy it because there's no games for it. So that's my skepticism towards VR in general. However, Sword Art Online, I think, first of all, if they did make a Sword Art Online game for Oculus Rift, which assuming they are, it'll sell like crazy in Japan. That will get
Yes.
people hooked on VR, no questions asked.
It's
Sword Art
Japan. VR, they've been waiting for VR forever anyway.
And yeah, and even here in North America, I can see that game having appeal. I think that Sword Art Online has presence here. It's very popular here now. So I think that if they did make a Sword Art Online game for VR, I think it would do reasonably well in North America, as long as it's good. And
Yeah.
from what I saw, it looks pretty cool. I'd like that.
Well, what you were seeing for the demo wasn't you playing, it was you spectating.
Yeah, that's another thing I noticed. And
So it was kind of like, so you have a Suna who's like standing there and you get to look around the field and then you're witnessing a battle. And then they had one which was like a tavern, like walk through town type situation. So
Right.
there were different scenarios in which you could actually sit down and experience, but you weren't doing anything. They didn't hand you a controller, they didn't hand you anything, they just told you to watch. And that's something that made me get a little skeptical.
There's
Because-
probably not much done yet.
Well, no, not even that.
it
Was the
didn't
fact
seem
that
like you were involved.
yeah. And so it made me wonder how much of the game quality and how much like of the actual game there was, or whether it was just going to be like, hey, look, here's the Oculus Rift. We're going to show you a little bit of a demo, and this is never going to be a thing. We're just doing this as a promo. And that's what I'm worried about. Is they take, hey, look, there's Sword Art Online, who is great with this like VR stuff that's like it's in the anime, it's in the games, and they're just using it as a promo. And that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, I think it would just be a waste if they just did a promo. I think that it's not like people don't throw it online. And that's the kind of logical progression that everyone was expecting the game to take, with VR being such a big deal. Until people fall into comas, then, that...
Yeah.
Well, there's that. There's also a couple of interesting logistics with doing a first-person MMO, like ESO. You can go first-person, but try actually playing the whole game that way.
It's
very
so
difficult.
hard.
It's very difficult because in most first-person games that you play, the game is structured around first-person gameplay. Like in Skyrim and things like that, they actually program the enemies so they don't really attack you from behind very much.
Right.
In an MMO, that's not the case because it's a whole full world and you can't just have it center on one person like every other game does. So the logistics of making a first-person MMO can be done, but they're actually not really there yet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I've played ESO in first-person mode most of the time. It made it harder, but it was fun.
That's what it is. It's harder. Try PvPing in such an area. Doomed. Doomed.
Yeah.
So there's going to be if this does really become a real game, it's going to be hard to nail the mechanics, because this is a different kind of perspective that a lot of people are working with, because you can't, turning around 180 degrees seems
you'd need a button for that, because
exactly.
Oculus, you'd like tangle yourself up in the cords and all this stuff.
And that's the thing. I remember people getting super excited about Kinect when it was just Project Natal. Everyone and there were companies saying this is the future of video games in general, and it turned out not to be. It turned out to just...
Yeah.
I think it is still the future, it's just that future hasn't gotten here quite yet.
We can see the future.
It really just depends on how many people actually want to invest money into making games for these peripherals. And I just remember all of that hype. Everyone was so excited for Project Natal, and nowadays the Kinect is just this joke. And I think that...
Well, here's the issue with it, though. It's because it's made as a peripheral.
Yeah.
If it wasn't a peripheral and the system just had it, it was what the system was designed and built around. And I'm not talking about how Xbox One was going to have it integrated and you couldn't run the system. It was still a peripheral. It was not
a requirement for the game system.
Right, like your controller. It's not a peripheral. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
You use a controller. Until the virtual reality aspects, be it motion capture or be it like Oculus headset or something, until that becomes what the entire system is centered around, the games aren't going to be good for it. The games aren't going to come out for it because it's too easy to develop something. I mean, there literally somewhere on Steam I saw there was a program you could buy to build your own first-person shooter. That is how standardized the controls have become for all this stuff. It's too easy to make a game that uses one of 3 or 4 control. How many controllers are there now? Like 3 of them? Everything follows one of like 3 standards. You're either Xbox, PlayStation, or does Nintendo even still do that?
Well, Nintendo has kind of their pro controller, which is basically a 360 controller. That's really what it is.
Yeah. So, but you see what I'm saying? Everything has become so standardized in that aspect. In order for a peripheral to become more popular, it's going to have to stop becoming a peripheral and start becoming a feature. Now, some peripherals have become really popular over the years, like the pads for like Dance Dance Revolution. They were selling those for a while because that game was really popular, but that's just a specific type of game. And by the way, those pads weren't just invented for Dance Dance Revolution, because I remember back either the mid to late 80s or early 90s.
Yeah, Nintendo's version, the Power Pad.
The Power Pad. They had the Power Glove.
Which was featured in Nightmare on Elm Street, which was hilarious.
Yes. you know, you had the Power Glove, you had the robot. If anyone remembers the robot.
The robot.
I thought he was neat, but there weren't really any good games to play him.
There were 2 games for him, and both of them were hampered by the fact that the robot would drop the little disc thing. So
Yeah. I mean, so it was a cool concept, but it didn't really work. But I mean, I think as people want a more immersive environment, it will happen more. It's just the technology needs to be as unobtrusive as possible.
exactly.
A lot more stuff has been made for the Kinect than was made for the Power Glove. And the reason is there's a lot less involved in the Kinect. It's a thing that just plugs in and it sits over there, you know, in the corner or whatever. And that's all you have to do. You don't have any wires attached to you for the
Well, the
Power
thing with the
Glove.
Kinect is you need to move everything out of the way to make sure it reads it correctly.
Yeah, but I kind of like having open floor space anyway myself. But so,
And also, you need to have the right lighting in the room for it to actually capture your face and everything correctly.
And to be fair,
that's easy enough to do. But
the new Kinect is better than the old Kinect by
Yeah.
far. But one
But
thing that I've noticed with the new Kinect is that the motion controls aren't really being pushed as much as the voice commands are.
That is
That's
true.
what people
That's a
were
good
using
point.
more. But what I was talking about with the Power Glove is, with the Power Glove, yeah, you're talking about, well, you have to have the right lighting. Okay, with the Power Glove, you had a cable going to the thing attached to your arm, for starters.
Yeah.
Second, there was an array of sensors that had to go around your TV. So the space requirement was still there, but you could do less with it than you can with the Kinect. So the Kinect is less obtrusive than that Power Glove was. It's less obtrusive than the DDR pads, because I've got, you know, a couple of dancing games, because I like dancing.
Ow!
Yeah.
I want to see
Leave
Jim
me alone.
dance.
Michael Jackson Experience is a fun game. Leave me alone.
Really?
Except, a couple of the dances, some of the stuff they have you do, it's just stupidly easy because they made it for people who apparently can't move.
So what we
At
need,
least it's not like the Star Wars dancing.
what we need from this podcast now is to get Jeremy on the internet playing the Michael Jackson Experience. Do it. Make it happen.
Someone set up a secret camera.
I'll record it one of these days, and you guys can watch and make fun of me.
Yes.
But the thing is, the Kinect can fulfill the function of what the DDR pad did if you set up your area right. So again, it's still less obtrusive. It's a single piece of hardware. Yeah, if you want fully interactive games, you're going to have space. And the lighting thing is kind of an issue, but, well, maybe this is just because I've done a lot of lighting over the years, but that's not a hard problem to fix. That's, you know, the right kind of lamp and a bulb sitting in the right spot in the room.
Well, there were a couple of claims earlier on that the Kinect was, well, racist. If you don't have the
I
right
heard
lighting,
about that.
there's that.
I heard about that, and I'm like,
Yeah, I don't know how much truth there is to that, because...
Well,
Yeah.
it's pure technology. It's not actually anything by
Well,
design.
no. Even as far as the technological claims, I don't know how much truth there is to that, because it uses an infrared camera. And
I honestly,
Right,
I'm pretty
okay.
sure that was proven false.
Interesting. Okay,
The
that's
fact that it got
like I was saying,
the fact that it got people to test to see if it was false was still kind of funny.
yes, no, it's hilarious, but it uses an infrared camera,
Right.
which sees things completely different. Like, there's a security camera at a club I go to sometimes. It's kind of funny to see people in the, like, video display, because, like, I walk in, I wear black. Almost all my clothing's black, and almost all my clothing's cotton, because then I can wash everything together. I'm
Yeah.
lazy. But I walk in, and I've got a black t-shirt and black pants on. I look up in the security camera, and I am wearing dark black pants with a gray shirt. Like a bright gray shirt.
well, I mean,
White.
the Kinect was originally, well, the technology from it comes from Israeli security tech. So,
I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
oh yeah, that's like I always thought that the applications for the Kinect could do a whole lot of interesting things, but we weren't quite lined up for gaming yet.
Yeah, I think I'm seeing all of the things that I'm seeing that the Kinect is working and actually making real progression in is not games. It's being used in hospitals as a treatment for different nervous system disorders. The things that I'm seeing the most with the Kinect are not games. It's things that, oddly enough, seem to be more important.
Mm-hmm. I need to try and find the guy's name. I can't remember it off the top of my head, and it makes me feel bad. But he did a thing probably 6 or 7 years ago with Wiimotes. He wrote a piece of software and he had it on his website. You could download it for free. And all you needed was a Wiimote and a pen that you'd shoved an infrared LED into. And then you hooked the Wiimote and the Wii into one of those projectors, the digital projectors.
Right.
And you could make a digital whiteboard using that setup. Because the Wiimote has an infrared sensor on it that's really good, so you could literally just draw, and you could use the infrared pen as a stylus on there, and it was really, really neat. And you could get, like, well, at the time they were really expensive, you know, they were several $1,000s, this particular type of smart board, and you can put one together for less than $500 yourself, you know, with about half an hour to an hour of work. It's just neat. And for a long time, it was military applications or space applications that were driving technological development. And now it's kind of become gaming applications. Because we've got all this stuff for gaming, all these really powerful computers with huge storage capacities and huge processing capability. And you got the Kinect, and you got the Wiimote, you got all this stuff for gaming, but it's actually better for everybody else. Because if you go back and look through history, it's like a lot of technology that we use for medicine, or a lot of things that got the gaming industry itself started, and personal computing industry started itself, was originally developed for military or space-based applications. So one thing kind of leads into another. You know, stuff like sometime go on the internet. I don't have time to look right now because we got 15 minutes left. But there are huge lists of things that were developed for the space program that we just use every day for cuts. GPS, how many people use GPS on a given day? And that was military and space program innovation. And most people don't realize how GPS works either. That's why I always think it's funny when people tell me radiocarbon dating doesn't work, and then I point out that they have a GPS and they're confused because they don't see how they're related, but they are.
Hey, Cat, you look bored.
I'm not, actually.
He's just drinking a whole bunch.
Oh yeah, we saw
that
that.
face! That face!
That's a tipsy
Call him
kitty face.
The drunken smirk face.
No, that's just
The
tipsy.
drunken smirk.
Oh, and we killed it. Oh, it's back.
Oh no.
Uh,
Love.
No, I've
There's a lot of
actually been
ridiculous.
like paying attention and researching my own stuff based on that to see how much like we can actually do with the Oculus Rift. Because someone was saying about how they're going to put all these sensors into it so it's not just visual. And I'm like, how? Why? Like, I think if I had to be strapped into this machine, it would no longer be, like, that fun. If it was just like, oh, I put this over my head, okay, that's great. That's awesome. But they want to do your heart rate. They want to do your blood pressure. They want to figure out whether you're actually being excited by what's going on. They want to, like, put in some sort of thing that actually puts in, like, sensors that, like, gives you a little bit of a vibrate or a shock, rather.
You realize that none of those are going to add much in terms of dimension to the unit, right? Because
What
like
is
I
it?
can get a heart rate monitor the size of a wristwatch.
Well, yeah, but, I mean, it just
But
kind
you
of...
could- I mean, it's not going to be any different. You're just going to put it over your head, and you know,
'Cause,
at most
I
there's
mean,
going to
you
be a
could-
wrist strap, but that wrist strap might be where your controller is too.
That's true. But, like, I
mean,
just
I go to the-
worry from watching Dot Hack Sign Log Horizon, Sword Art Online, that as soon as you get into these, I'm strapping something else to me, that we're going to get into the realm of, holy shit, what if this system malfunctions and I get electrical shock?
We're gonna go into a
That-
coma, and then we have to beat
What?
the last.
That wouldn't actually happen, because they're not going to develop something that would actually give you a real electrical shock. Maybe vibration, but not real electrical shock, because that would never fly. They'd get sued
Yeah,
that
they would.
fast.
Yeah, that is true.
So that's not going to happen. But there is one application that all the VR we're talking about is very good for, and that is remote surgery. There is actually a unit, and I'll try and bring some of this stuff. I think it's called the Da Vinci or something like that.
It sounds
It is a-
horrifying.
It
Yeah,
is a
it sounds-
system that allows you to do like someone here in the U.S. to do surgery on someone halfway around the world. So you can take this machine into an impoverished
Wait,
village, do surgery on them, and they don't have to leave their house.
So what I'm envisioning here is somebody playing Surgeon Simulator and happening somewhere. This is a
Yup.
horrible idea.
You just gave me the idea for a story about a serial killer. Anyway, oh, you ain't got nothing on this guy. It probably doesn't help that I'm currently writing a story that involves an immortal Jack the Ripper and an immortal H.H. Holmes. If you don't know who the second one is, look it up. Yeah, he's actually probably one of the worst serial killers ever. His body count may have been in the hundreds. And he was in Chicago during the World's Fair. Built a murder castle. Anyway, the point is, it allows people to get medical procedures done that there's no way they could get done any other way. Because there's no way you get enough doctors to fly somewhere. But a piece of technology that we've got actually a surplus of people in this country who could work on it and fix it and do that kind of thing. You could fly them out to these different areas, or even a remote part of this country. I mean, and I don't think they can do, heart transplants or anything.
What
But I
if
mean-
it malfunctions mid-surgery?
That's why you have techs there. I think you also have to have a nurse present or something. But you see what I'm saying? The technology isn't to the point where we can do open heart surgery with it yet. At least it's not as far as I know. You know what? We got 5 minutes. I'm going to look it up while I'm talking.
I was gonna say, hey, at least we got the science portion of the show in.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, so I vote that Jeremy does his spiel right now, seeing that he has to go for work, and then the three of us continue
Okay.
for like the next half hour so that we can make up
Because we
the
started
time
a
we
half hour
lost.
late. Surgery.
Because
Yeah,
I was
we
gonna
started
say,
half
we're
an
not
hour
gonna
late.
get to like movie and TV or anime if we're doing this, so.
I actually have my stuff all lined up. I only have a few things to talk about because it's getting to be tail end of summer, so most of the stuff has already happened. So
Preparation.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, essentially, so far, it looks like what it's being used for right now is cardiac valve repair, some gynecological work, looks like some colonoscopy, like colon work, too, in gastroenterology. I'm not sure I trust it for neuroscience remotely, but, I mean, think about it. How easy are, say, LASIK procedures these days? I mean, really stop and think about it. How easy is it to perform LASIK at this point? Where you can perform the surgeries, and he can probably get a lot more done in a day that way. And hey, it means more money for him, more patients get seen, more patients get their eyes fixed.
hey, robotic
You know,
surgery.
Yep. Like I said, that's just the Wikipedia article, so take anything it says with a grain of. Actually, screw that, it's Wikipedia, so sometimes you should take anything on there with a gigantic block of salt. But Wikipedia is usually fairly accurate. So yeah, I mean, the idea of the remote surgery is not that far off. And add to that what's going on with nanotech these days, because I was just reading up on an article on that, and they're actually coming up with, and I'll link this in their chat, or maybe one of you can like put it up there, because I don't know how to do that.
I think
yeah.
she actually has to do it.
Okay, well, someone yell at her when she comes back. That second clip is a transparent screen that you can draw on from either side. Like digitally. It's like a digital display screen that can be drawn on from both sides.
That
And
looks cool.
the way they're starting to do things like this is with what are called monolayers, which means it is as close to two-dimensional as you can get. A good example is something called graphene. It's a single layer of carbon atoms. If anyone knows what a carbon nanotube is, a carbon nanotube is basically a piece of graphene that's turned into a tube. It is as close to two-dimensional as you can get. The funniest part about graphene is the first way that they made it. Okay? You take some graphite, you put it on a piece of Scotch tape, and you do this. And you do it again, and again, and again, and again, and eventually you have a single layer of carbon atoms. Because that's how carbon works. I'm really not kidding. This revolutionary material was created with Scotch tape.
Neat.
Neato.
Isn't science fun? Sometimes we...
Neato.
You
Well,
need to do this podcast with a bad lab coat.
Or just
I
a lab
have
coat
one
in
of
with like a
those
bow tie.
somewhere.
With a bow tie. With a
Gotta
bow
be
tie.
bow
So
ties.
Bill Nye. Okay, so Jeremy, you now have just science.
Science! Stuff is cool doesn't necessarily mean everyone else is cool.
Well, you get like 10-minute rant situation. At
Yeah.
some point, someone's gonna be like, "Man, I like that topic."
Yeah. Well, but talking about computers and nanotech, I was actually just reading an article the other day, and I can't find it right now, so I'll look for it for next week. Basically, the way computers work, for those of you who don't know, is it's a transistor, which, depending on which way current flows, it becomes either a 1 or a 0. So essentially, your computer is a gigantic stack of on-off switches. But there's a limit to how much computing power you can shove into something just based off of size and based off of the restrictions of how the transistors work with the semiconductors and all that fun crap. There's University of Alberta. They're actually working on what I was just talking about with graphene, another monolayer, this one made of silicon, and basically they would be transistors that are nanometers. Like, a nano is a billionth of a meter. So, stop and think about what a millimeter is. A micrometer is 1,000th of that.
Itty bitty.
A human hair is about 100 micrometers. So we're talking about something 100,000 times smaller than that, is what they're looking at now to create these transistors. And they'll use a lot less power, they'll be a lot more efficient, and you can start getting faster and faster computers. Probably about 10-15 years ago, there was talk of something called a nano CD. And basically, it was a disk about the size of a penny that would hold, I think each side was around 5 gigabytes of data. The reason they ended up not putting it into production was mostly because they were worried about people losing the disks.
Yep.
It's kind of like your USB drive. Your USB drive is mostly a case. Like, the actual chip is smaller than the port used to plug it into your computer.
Well, look
The
at
reason they make them so big is so you don't lose the damn things.
micro SDs. Micro SDs are maybe
Exactly.
the size of your thumbnail. Like, if that.
You got a big thumbnail though.
Okay. I thought I was out.
But yeah, I mean, like, you consider looking at that. Like, you can get up to, like, 32 gigs on my thumbnail.
Right. And again,
Like,
what you're talking about there, that kind of computing power is built, it's not on the atomic level, it's not on the molecular level, it's built maybe you could technically term it on the micro scale because it's in the hundreds of micrometer range. But we're talking about a system of computing where you are building things from the molecule or even the atom up.
Holy shit.
So, yeah.
Sorry.
So, talking about remote surgery is nothing, because here's the thing. Here's where this technology is going, and I'll try and get some more stuff up on this for next time. They're actually working on robots. Like, this is... It sounds like it's out of science fiction, but it's actually starting to come true. Where we're actually developing machines to go inside of the human cell and repair it from the inside out. They've made a lot of movies about this.
Yeah, I'm like...
I mean, seriously, this is straight out of science fiction. But I mean, think about it. You've already got medical devices, and they're throwaway devices. You swallow it, and I know this because I had Crohn's disease, and I came about this close to having colon cancer not that long ago, so I know a lot about these kind of devices. It's this little camera you swallow, and it sends telemetry to a wristwatch, which then broadcasts it. So they can actually watch what's going on in your esophagus. I think they've got them down to the size where they can stick them in your bloodstream.
So what you're telling me is somebody very, very scientifically watched you poop?
Very, very scientifically.
Yeah.
Sweet!
So, I mean, we're talking about, being
That's
able
the
to see
only
inside the human body in ways that we've never seen it before, which means we can fix problems that we've never seen before. There's a surgical technique. They were trying to use it on cancer for a while. The issue is cost. And you'll see why I'm saying it costs a lot here in a minute. It was an extremely effective way to operate on cancer, where they could they could focus target and destroy the cancer cells with a burst of supercooled fluid. The way they found exactly where to go is the entire operating theater was a giant MRI. So stop and think about how expensive an MRI scan is, and then realize you're doing an entire surgery standing inside of it. So, one, the machine itself, that is insanely expensive. Two, that means you need a lot of liquid helium, because that's one of the things it takes to make MRIs run, if I remember right. I might be wrong on that, but I don't think it is. I'll look into it. And two, none of your tools... Because if they do, that is not going to go well.
Right.
I remember a story where someone left a fire extinguisher, ironically, unsecured in a room with an MRI. And, well, fire extinguishers apparently make pretty good missiles. So,
What?
and I think she
that was a
dropped
little
stuff on the
creepy.
table.
I'm still here. I'm just looking at something on my
There's
other
stuff
screen.
Under the table.
I just saw a hand. She's making a fort under the table.
No, I'm
That's
actually
like
like watching something on my other screen, so.
Yes, we are.
Right. Does it have tentacles?
No.
Again. We can't keep hentai out of this show. We're talking about science here.
Science, hentai science.
Hentai science.
But yeah, I'll try and find some more exacting stuff for next week. I wasn't sure exactly how this was going to go, but apparently people are actually interested in this crap. So I'll come up with some more, and I'll see you guys next time, because I actually got to go get ready for work. So, take care.
Okie dokie.
My science. Mr. Science.
Doo-doo-doo. Okay, Josh, on to movies, TV.
So I'm up. So as you guys heard last week, I actually work for a TV station, and I have a pretty good idea on the stuff that's coming on. I actually have more movie things going on than TV, because a lot of the stuff that's going on TV is not really overly interesting to me. I'm gonna have to wait until seasons start back up again, which is a lot of the same problems that we're running into with our anime segment. So, the stuff that I did see that's coming on pretty soon, we talked about this last week, but I think this is actually, let me check here. Yeah, this is this upcoming Sunday on FX, that The Strain TV show. is going to premiere at 9 Central. And that's the bit with the, it's Guillermo del Toro's take
Yeah,
on vampires.
I was trying to think of it was some big name was involved with that show.
Yeah, he actually wrote a couple of novels. Like, this is his story.
I
And
think Tilger is currently reading them, actually.
Yeah, he is. And he's a big